It's like they disappeared, Arthur said. They're waiting for something. He wouldn't attack like that, then just go back into hiding. For 31 years he's been planning something. If we can figure it out, we can stop him. On the good side, Cosmos and the other alphas have done so much work that come Monday, all services should be online. How many civilian casualties do we have? Arthur was slower to answer this question. Reports are still coming in. How many? 1.1 million, maybe as high as 1.3. Many of them politicians, intelligence, and law enforcement. Omni made a pained face at the number, but recovered quickly. The need for politicians could be debated, but we'll need good intelligence and police on the ground. If the governments of the world do it, it will be 5 to 10 years to replace them all. If we help, we can cut maybe a few years off that, Arthur said. I know, it's a huge job. Omni just shook his head at the thought. Omni, can I talk to you? Darkspeed asked from behind. Sure, and don't be timid. I'm still your coach. I mean, could I talk to you in private? Sure, Omni said as he followed Darkspeed into the side conference room. What's on your mind? I spoke to Vector during the battle. He said he was my father and that you killed my mother. Is that true? Omni froze at the question he hoped would never come. It's true. Is that all you have to say? It's true? I could give you dozens of reasons why I did what I did to your mother. She was a powerful alpha-level villain that had killed people. When I found where she and her squad were hiding, I took out everyone in their lair. It was right after that I found you. This little blonde-haired 2-year-old boy in one-piece pajamas that was sleeping in the other room. I took you back to the hall and let Mercy watch after you while the reps were looking for a suitable foster family to take you in. It didn't take long before Mercy saw you do something at super speed. Vector had hurt so many people I was worried they may try to take it out on you. I used some of the time equipment I had to freeze you in time and wait until I could place you with just the right family. I wanted you to have the chance to grow up and be good. It worked. Not that I'm not appreciative of the save, but why put so much effort into the son of your enemy? Darkspeed asked. It wasn't always like that, Omni said with hesitation. Why? What do you mean? It's time you met someone, Omni said as he left the room. Come on. Outside, Omni had Darkspeed put his hood helmet on and prepared for flight. Omni took Darkspeed with his telekinesis and held firm. Darkspeed watched as the Earth shrank and North America grew under them. They descended near the Great Lakes and landed quickly just past them in the dark. Where are we? Darkspeed asked as he pulled his hood back. Retirement home for people with special need, just outside of Chicago. It's run by the HU, Omni said as they walked in. Inside, the gray-haired security guard with glasses quickly opened the door for Omni. Mr. Connors, we saw you on the TV. We didn't know you were Omni. It's all right. How was the old man today? It's the middle of the night. He was sleeping last time I checked. I have to say, he really enjoyed the books you brought last week. I'm glad to hear that. I'll just go have a look and see how he is, Omni said and walked down the hall. Take your time, Omni, the old security guard said with a smile. I don't get why we're here, Darkspeed said. You'll see. Down the hall, Omni stopped and slowly opened a door. Inside was a large room with one bed and several chairs. On the walls, pictures of superheroes and cards papered the walls. Stacks of books and magazines were on shelves all around the room. A man that looked at least 100 years old was asleep on the bed. The man wore hospital pajamas and had oxygen being fed into his nostrils by a tube. This is Stan. He was also known as the Incredible Mr. Quick. When I was trying to become a superhero, I was just a loose cannon. I was young, without any direction. My father had been killed in war. My mother didn't know what to do. I'd already killed a bunch of time travelers, and no real superhero wanted anything to do with me. Only one person believed in me and agreed to take me on as an apprentice. Stan gave me a room in his home and taught me to be a superhero. He made sure I had the heart of a superhero. In my training, he didn't hold anything back. I looked up to him as I did the father I had lost. Stan became sort of an adopted father to me. He really went out of his way to help me. What does that have to do with me? Darkspeed asked. Jake, meet your great-grandfather. Darkspeed froze as he tried to take in what that meant. The statue in Omni's room and the stories about Stan started to make sense. That means that Vector was his grandson? Darkspeed asked. I was 14 when Vector was born. At the hospital, I got to hold him when he was only a day old. Stan was so proud of his grandson. In the summer of '65, I was the biggest superhero on the planet, and Stan asked me to take Vector on as an apprentice. He was 17 years old. I never questioned whether or not his heart was right. After all, he was Stan's grandson. He was like family to me. I just taught him everything as quickly as I could, Omni said. So you thought of Vector as like a nephew? Darkspeed asked. Yeah, something like that. When he turned, I couldn't believe it. Couldn't accept it. What happened to Stan's son, my grandfather? He made a heartfelt appeal for Vector to stop before it was too late. Vector killed his own father so he wouldn't have to listen to his words, or maybe because he felt guilty when he listened to them. I don't know. It was after that I know Vector had to be dealt with like any villain. Are you trying to make up for Vector by helping me? It's more than that. You're kind of like a nephew too. And more than anything, I did it for the old man. It crushed him. I mean, it devastated him when Vector went bad. He always had hopes of several generations of superheroes, all his children, sitting around the Christmas fire opening presents. Instead, his only remaining blood relation tried to take over the world. You're this man's last wish. He may not know it yet, but that's how it is, Omni said. Can I meet him? Darkspeed said. I was hoping you'd ask that. Just don't say anything about Vector being back. I don't want to upset him. Omni pulled a chair close to Stan's bed and gently touched his shoulder. Stan. It's me. Stan slowly rolled his eyes over and smiled at Omni. It's Saturday already? It's a special Saturday, Stan. I'd like to introduce you to the leader of my new Alpha team. This is Darkspeed, Omni said as he gestured toward the young superhero. I'm told they used to call you Mr. Quick, Darkspeed said. Darkspeed here is just 15 years old, and already he's defeated dozens of supervillains, maybe 100. In emergencies, he's organized rescue teams and saved tens of thousands of lives, Omni said. That's the real measure of a superhero. Not how many bad guys he puts in jail, but how many regular folks get to go on living their lives. Start keeping track of those now. When you're my age, the number gets pretty big, Stan said. I have a surprise for you today, Stan, Omni said. Well, what is it? Back in the war, I raided this one lair. I found a child that turned out to be Vector's. I hid the child and placed him with the perfect super family that would raise him right. I made sure he had the heart of a hero. Stan, Omni pointed at Darkspeed. Meet your grandson. Stan started to shake as he looked at Darkspeed. Is this true? Sure as I'm the leader of the first team at Alpha, Darkspeed said with strength. Stan held two shaky hands out and said, Come here. Stan weakly pulled Darkspeed in for a hug and cried like a baby. Darkspeed found himself caught up in the moment and started crying too. Finally, he knew where he came from. I'll give you two some time. I'll be down the hallway, Omni said softly as he snuck out of the room. Omni wiped the water from his eyes as he walked lightly down the hall. This was the one thing he wanted to give back to Stan before he died. Omni felt like he had just done the single best thing he had ever done in his life. Omni and Darkspeed arrived back at London HQ and touched down in the upper hangar. Darkspeed was quick to pull his protective hood back. Did he really fight in the Civil War? Darkspeed asked. He really did. He fought and worked as an information courier. His speed, regeneration, and photographic memory made him perfect for the job, Omni said. Was he as fast as me? He wasn't even as fast as me. He was about 100 norms of speed. Stan's wife was invulnerable, which is where you get some of your durability from. She also upped your grandfather's power level. He had about 2,000 norms of speed. Then Vector had even more. Darkspeed followed Omni down through the building as he kept asking questions. Vector's not as strong as me, is he? No, your mother was a cross between a hitter and an anchor with darkness powers. That's how you got your strength. Vector's may be as strong as she. Wow. When I saw him, he didn't look old. Does everyone stay young in my family? It's the regeneration. Keeps you young. Like the Omni power keeps me young, Omni said as he headed for the break room. That's how Stan lived to be so old. Will I live to be that old? How old is he, really? Darkspeed asked as he stood in front of Dr. DeClute and most of First Team. Ask him yourself next time you see him. I have to go and talk to Prism. Omni left the room. She and the others walked up to Darkspeed, who looked like a kid on Christmas morning.